What's going on, everyone? This is B-RAD the Man, and today we are going to be starting off with a map ranking video that's starting to trend again. And I figure I might as well put my 2 cents into here because I have a few opinions, and I know this is going to be a pretty controversial map. Controversial map. This is going to be a pretty controversial ranking here. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. So we got the same. Like I said, this has kind of been trending since Noah J made his ranking video, and it's only evolved from there. A lot of flack on that video, so and it's kind of just evolved. Like I said, it's just evolved, and it's just a whole mess. But I found the ranking tier maker list that he had. So we have the near perfect, the great, the good, the average, the lackluster, the bad, and the painful. Normally, I would probably just do S through D and then F, but I think I'm going to make an attempt to do this one, so I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. And then I actually listed, instead of just picking maps from just randomly, I actually organized everything so it is set up as pretty much as it came out. So we have original Nuketown Toten all the way through Maureder Toten. And I'm going to be perfectly honest here. I kept this one in here. I have not played World War II. I have not played wherever the hell this one was. I still don't even know. I have not played any of the Infinite Warfare zombies. So I am just going to go ahead and put everything in here. I am going to be as transparent as I can be with this. Don't have a clue about any of this stuff, so I am not going to be able to give a good base opinion on that. I will say, though, the only reason I have not played any of these, no one played Extinction. If they did, rip. I heard nothing but bad things out of World War II in terms of its zombies. And honestly, with the Infinite Warfare zombies, I kind of wanted to play, but I just didn't ever feel like it was necessary to buy the game or to buy it. But I've heard nothing but amazing things about Zombies in Spaceland. So if you do want me to try Zombies in Spaceland at some point and want me to buy the game, I might try it at some point. But if you do want me to try, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. And then just comment, plays Spaceland. And I might actually try that out in a separate video. But pretty much everything else here, including Advanced Warfare. The Advanced Warfare is the one zombies game I actually have played, other than World at War, Black Ops 1 through Cold War. So those are the maps I'm going to be ranking. It's like I said, no World at War, or no World War II, and no Infection, is it? Or not Infection. I don't even know what the hell the other one was. It's still whatever came out of Ghost. I don't know what it is. I don't really care what it is because, again, nobody played that. But these are the maps that I'm going to be ranking, and I might as well start off with good old Nuketown Toten. And Noct is a map that I think a lot of people in the community will say, give it its respect. It's one of the best maps ever because it was the first one ever, which is true, and it's fair. And I don't really want to put, like I said, I'm one of the guys that I really do like Noct, but I will admit, playing the World at War version is fun because you pretty much knew that if you got to round 20, you were good. Especially if you didn't get the ray gun. And doing any other ones, like Black Ops 1 or Black Ops 3 is a lot of fun too because you can get perks. But after a while, you pretty much you just run out of things to do, and it's just kind of whatever. But it's not a bad map. Obviously not painful. Lackluster, no, because lackluster would mean that it didn't do anything to actually make the game as it is. So I'm gonna put it at average. I think C is a good spot for it. It's just fair. It's the best. It's Noct. Like you can't not like Noct. Don't say anyone that says, "Oh, Noct's boring." No shit. It was the first one ever. So that's where I would put Nocturne Toten. I put it in at average. Verrucht, on the other hand, is a map that I really, really enjoy. Also, I think they spelled Verrucht wrong on here. Yeah, there's no... maybe it's wrong, I don't know. But Verrucht is one that I actually really, really enjoy. And if I could be perfectly honest, and I'm just kind of looking at what I have for my rankings here, like, because I kind of listed everything out just so I can give myself a better shot here. I almost have Verrucht in my top 10. Verrucht is such a fun experience with the just eeriness, the spookiness, the everything about it. And it's so simple, but it's really like any of the versions of Verrucht are really, really good. And I think Verrucht belongs in the good category. Does that mean that I think objectively it is in the B tier? I guess it depends on how you look at it, but as far as I'm concerned, Verrucht that's where it should be. Like that, if you ask me to right now to play any map, and you tell me, "Hey, let's go play Verrucht," I'd say yeah. I would much rather play Verrucht over Nocturne Toten any day of the week. That's just kind of my opinion on that. Shino Numa, on the other hand, you guys have seen how I am in Shino Numa. I'm not a fan of this map. Like I am not a fan of this map at all. It's not a difficult map. It's not a hard map. Obviously on World at War it's easy, and the other ones are, you can make it work. But for some reason, like, Shino Numa just does not inspire me, like, to want to play, at all. Like, if anyone asks me, "Hey, play Shino Numa," no, I'm good. I'd much rather play a lot of other maps above Shino Numa. Like, again, not a bad map. I just don't like it. But like I said, I'm not going to put it in the bad category. I'm just going to put it lackluster. It was nice to see the introduction of a new wonder weapon, but I don't know. Like I said, there's just something about it that I think maybe it's the mud. Maybe it's just the fact that it looks all green. I don't know. Like, I just don't like the Shino Numa that much, but I'm not going to put it in the bad category. I think lackluster is okay here. Now, Derice, obviously everyone is, if you're going to rank everything, Derice would be way up there for everyone. And I know a lot of people would probably, some people might put it here, some people might put it here. I'm actually going to put it here. If anyone asks me right now, for a future video or anything, if they ask me, let's play Derice, any of the versions, World at War, BO1, or the Giant, I would say yes, because I love Derice. I think Derice is one of, when Crazy Rabbit did his video a long time ago, he pretty much said that Derice is the perfect map. And I honestly kind of have to agree with that. It's got a lot to do. It's got a good wonder weapon. It's got good camping and training strategies. And it's not overly complicated. All you have to do is just power up 3 teleporters. And you got Pack-a-Punch, which was amazing. Considering the fact that if zombies didn't have Pack-a-Punch, we would not be having this conversation today. So, Derice, I think, is pretty much a near perfect map. And that's one that I would personally say, yes, let's go play this map right now. There's no way you're changing my mind on that one. Now, next one, we got Kino Der Toten. Kino is, admittedly, one of the most overrated maps in terms of everyone saying, let's go play Kino. Kino is amazing, blah, 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 blah. But that being said, I still like Kino. Kino's a good map. It is overplayed. It is probably the most overplayed map of all time, but Kino Der Toten was the perfect map to bring more people into zombies, because essentially it was just Der Riese in an abandoned theater. And granted, there was only one teleporter, but having Kino was the best thing that could have happened to zombies, because if Kino didn't exist, zombies would pretty much not exist. And granted, it's all because Der Riese was there, but because of DLC and people not paying for DLC, we needed Kino. Otherwise, everything would just be, it would be gone. We would have nothing. So Kino is, in my opinion, an overplayed map, excuse me, but still really good. I'll put it in the good category, but I would much rather play Verrückt over anything else. But that's just my personal opinion there. 5 is a map that I do enjoy. I really do like 5. But it's not a map that I can play as much as, like, if you ask me 24 hours straight, if you ask me to play one map, like every map for 24 hours straight, Der Riese, I'm obviously going to play, I would honestly attempt to do 24 hours. Verrückt would probably be a map that I would like to, I could maybe do 24 hours. Like pretty much anything that would be a play for 24 hours straight would be in S or A. And 5 is still a good map, but, you know, the more I think about it, and I feel like I need to update my list here too, I'm going to put it in average. 5 is not a bad map. 5 is not a map. 5 is only as low as it is because of its difficulty and the fact that there's only like one good training spot. I guess it's technically got a good camping spot too if you can utilize the elevator properly, but if there was a better wonder weapon than 5, if there were a better wonder weapon and like another good training area, I could definitely see 5 being up here, because 5 would be a very good map. But I don't know. It's just, there's just too much of other things here, too many other issues that 5 has that I don't want to put in the good category. I'll put it in average, but I can kind of put it at that like fringe. Like if I had to put it in good, I would put it in good. But that is just, I don't know, it's just, like I said, it's fine. It's a fine map. But I'm not going to be, I'd only play so much of 5 before I would get sick of it. Ascension, to me, Ascension to me is a near perfect map. Now, that again, these are maps that I'm going to play a lot. And again, I will be making a different list here in a little bit, but to me, Ascension is just one of the coolest maps in terms of its size. It's not overly complicated, and the Thunder Gun is amazing. Having PhD and Stamina Up were great innovations to it. So much training areas. And really, if you tried, there's probably a good camping area too. I just don't really know. I don't do too much of camping, but there probably is a good camping area if you had enough people. But Ascension to me is just, if again you ask me to hop into a game, I'm gonna put Ascension there, and I would play Ascension for probably 24 hours. Probably because you would have to play 24 hours if you wanted to get to round 100, but Ascension to me is just a incredibly fun map, no matter if you're playing solo or if you're playing with 4 people. I love Ascension. Call of the Dead. Call of the Dead is a map that I have barely played. And if you saw the video where I played with Tim, Go check that out if you haven't, by the way. But the video where I played with Tim, clearly you could kind of tell that I didn't have a single clue what I was doing. Call of the Dead is a map that I have maybe played legitimately a handful of times. That being said, Call of the Dead is still a great map. The layout is superb. The wonder weapons, while they're weak, are at least intriguing. They're fun. Having George running around and giving you, various amount of items and everything, legitimately fun. Like it's a needed chaos. It's something different. It's something new, and that's something that I truly like. It's for me that's only played Call of the Dead a couple of times, and would say yes, let's go play a Call of the Dead. I'm gonna go play Call of the Dead. I love Call of the Dead. It's such a good map, and it's just, I love everything about it. I would say Call of the Dead is a map that probably should get more love than it does, and that's saying something because it still gets a lot of love. But I think it's a great map. And yeah. Shangri-La. Shangri-La is, to me, just above Noct. Shangri-La is a map that I could probably play, but I'm not gonna have a very fun time with it. Shangri-La is a map that I can play a couple of times and be like, that was fun, but then I can go a good long while without playing Shangri-La. That's pretty much the best way to describe it. Like, you saw the video that I did with Jolts. Shangri-La is fun. It really is. The layout is pretty interesting. It's a gorgeous looking map. The baby gun is amazing. But if you ask me to play a whole bunch of Shangri-La, this is a map that I probably would not attempt to really do too many high round attempts on, and obviously you need 4 people to do the Easter egg. And if there's really no communication, then it's just, But like I said, this is my, for what I want to play, Shangri-La to me is just average, and that's kind of where I would leave that. Moon. Moon is, for me, a top 10 map. Moon is a very, 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 very fun map. And when I did this with Rabbit not that long ago, again, go check out my One Opportunity series if you haven't yet. It's getting better, and I will get Transit out hopefully soon. I still need to find someone else to play it with. And again, if there's anyone that you want me to play with, comment in the comment below who you think I should play with next. But Moon is, to me, a very underrated map, because a lot of people will say that Moon is tedious because of the RNG. They'll say that the astronaut sucks. They'll say that the hacker, while it's cool, is annoying. The lack of oxygen. If you throw a grenade in a enclosed area and then expose it to the actual moon, it's annoying. There's a lot of things to not like about Moon, and like I said, the Easter egg. Once you get everything through the box, it's different. But to me, Moon is a very fun map, and I am fringe on putting it in great, but I think B is fair. I think B is a fair spot for where it should be. And honestly, if you ask me to play Moon right now, I would go play Moon right now. There's just a couple things that prevent me from putting it in great. Only a couple things, but that's where I would put Moon. And like I said, I insanely love Moon. I think Moon is a fantastic map. Transit, on the other hand, is just straight up painful. I'm not even gonna make an explanation about it. Transit is just absolutely painful. With the size of it is just too much. The bus is very... Hold on, I got a person that won't shut their fucking car off. Piece of shit. Transit is just... It's just painful. Like, obviously, if you can get power on you, it's okay because you can get perks. But the Pack-a-Punch way, the Pack-a-Punch system on it, to me is if the Pack-a-Punch were at least somewhat normal, I could at least put it here. But to me, if you don't have a good Pack-a-Punch system, like, I don't even care about the fog. I don't care about the denizens, even though they're all annoying little shits. I don't even care about Avogadro. And I don't even care about, like, the whole, like, having to go to, like, 3 or 4 different areas to go get or to get power. But to me, just the Pack-a-Punch system in general makes it, to me, the most painful map, whether or not you're playing with people. Even if you're playing with a good amount of friends, transit sucks. And to me, it's the Pack-a-Punch system. The Pack-a-Punch system can go suck a dick. Like, I hate the Pack-a-Punch system. Will not play transit unless I'm actually playing with a group of people that actually know what the hell they're doing. And that's only if they know how to get Pack-a-Punch. Just hate transit. Bus depot, like, I didn't really have too many other places to put these. Bus depot is just as painful, although I'd still rather play transit than bus depot. Because at least on transit, you can at least attempt to get perks. So that's just, yeah. Bus depot sucks. Farm is just above transit. And town is good. And honestly, it's a map that I'll put behind Kino. Now, like I said, transit's terrible. Bus depot's worse. Farm is only slightly better because you don't have to go a whole lot, and you can still get perks. You can't get Pack-a-Punch, but whatever. Town is great. Town's a very good survival map, and honestly, a lot better than like Noct is in terms of a good survivable area because you can actually get Pack-a-Punch. And yes, the lava sucks, but so be it. Would I play Town over Kino? Honestly, no. I would play Kino over Town. And it's only because, and this is going to be a controversial statement. If you ask me to play any of the Treyarch games as a whole, that includes World at War, Black Ops 1, 2, 3, 4, and Cold War. Other than Cold War, and I only say Cold War because of its lack of content, I think BO2 is just above World at War in terms of its overall quality. And I only say that because for some reason, like, I don't know if it's just like everything's just kind of shifted out of the way. Everything flows very smoothly in Black Ops 1 because Black Ops 1 was made for last gen. Black Ops 2 tried to act as if they were going to be a next gen game, but was still stuck in last gen. So with the way that I play and the movement of Black Ops 2, for me anyway, I just don't like Black Ops 2. It just doesn't work for me. Like I feel like the movability in Black Ops 2 is probably the worst of any of the numbered Black Ops games. So that's probably why because with Black Ops 1, like even on Black Ops 1 Kino, like I can move pretty well with that. Black Ops 2, even with Town or any of the other maps, I just don't like it as much. And that's probably why I would put Town underneath Kino. If I would have, if for some reason, if they could make that a little bit easier to move around in, I would probably put Town over Kino. I'd probably put Town over Verrucht. But there's just something about it, and I just don't enjoy playing BO2. So I'm going to put Town behind Kino. And Nuketown isn't on here, isn't on the list. Honestly, Nuketown for me would probably go just behind Noct here. I like Nuketown. Nuketown's a good map, just because it's unpredictable. It's not a fantastic map. There's not a whole lot of other things to do. But yeah, Nuketown's not bad, but I'm gonna move on with that. Die Rise. If you saw my original ranking every map ever video, you already know where I'm putting Die Rise. Die Rise, literally the only thing that's redeemable of Die Rise is the Sliquifier. That's it. There's nothing else that's redeemable about Die Rise. The elevator system sucks. The Pack-a-Punch is barely accessible. At least I think anyway, because of the elevator system. Who's Who is terrible. Falling to your death is terrible. The mattresses, Johnny J, your mattresses suck and they deserve to suck. Like they are the worst mattresses. Like, if you tried to sell me that mattress in a mattress store right now, I would burn your mattress store. I do not like Die Rise of anything that's involved with it. Die Rise just makes me sick. Like I said, and honestly, even the Sliquifier does not redeem this map at all. Like, it's the only good quality of Die Rise. Everything else about it, no, can't. You couldn't pay me to play Die Rise, like, in my free time. I can't, and I won't. I will not do it. Mob of the Dead is my favorite map of all time, and it is obviously going to go in S. The story behind it, the wonder weapons, the layout of the map, everything about it is basically perfect. The only thing that annoys me, again, is just the movability in Black Ops 2. If the movability was just better, I would say hands down would be better, the best map of all time. Right, obviously people are going to argue Origins and Shadows and blah blah blah, but Mob of the Dead, you asked me to play Mob of the Dead right now. Yes, I will play Mob of the Dead with you right now. It is my favorite map, and like I said, the only thing that, to me, that knocks it down is it being on Black Ops 2. Put that in Black Ops 3, or even granted it was in Black Ops 4 with Blood, but in any of the later games, even put that in BO1, and it'd be amazing. I'm going to say Mob of the Dead, the only thing that knocks it down is it being on BO2. Buried is, truthfully for me, it's a map that I have not played a whole lot of. So Buried is going to probably get an unfair ranking from me. I won't lie to you. It's going to get a very unfair ranking because a lot of people are going to put it here. They'll put it here. I'm going to put Buried here. And the only, like I said, the only reason I'm putting Buried in B is because I have not played Buried that much. So that's why it's kind of getting this bad treatment. The few times that I have played it, it is good. The Paralyzer's fun and everything there. I like having Leroy helping you out with like building parts and opening up spots and all that stuff. And the bank system's really good, but like I said, I have not played Buried enough to really give it a fair ranking, but I still think it's a good map, but that's just kind of where I would put it right now. It's like, if you looked at my numbered list right now, Buried is like right at the bottom of B tier and where I would have like all the numbers, but like I said, it's still a good map, but that's pretty much all I have for that. Let's move on. Origins. This is where I'm going to lose a lot of people. I will say right now, the good things I like about Origins. I love the setting. I love the wonder weapons. I love the boss. Panzer is good. The robots are cool. There's a lot of good things about Origins. Like, everything is really cool about it, and I don't really have too many issues or like too many horrible things with it. But the thing that kills Origins for me is the fact that trying to find the wonder weapon pieces, all 4 staves, trying to find the pieces for the shield, trying to start everything up for the Easter egg, the mud. There's just so many things here. I don't like going on a scavenger hunt. If I have to go into a Mr. Raffle Waffles tutorial to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, I'm not going to have fun with it. I just want to play. I just want to shoot zombies in the face. If you want to throw like 15 panzers in the map or whatever, and then I just explode and die, then so be it. But yeah, there's just I just don't like going on scavenger hunts. Like I said, I'm not going to be stupid and put it in average or anything lower than that. Like I said, but this is a map that I will say I will kind of shrug my shoulders at if everyone says let's go play Origins, because I don't really know that map too well. BO2 or BO3 version, there's just so many things with me on this map that I don't like going on scavenger hunts, and that's just what this map is to me, is a giant scavenger hunt. I would much rather play any of those other maps than I would with Origins. But yeah, like I said, that's probably gonna be where I lose a lot of people. But like I said, the layout is good, the map is cool. Like I said, the mud sucks, and the scavenger hunt is just a giant pain in the ass. Now we're going into Advanced Warfare, and Outbreak, the original Outbreak, is first on the list. And this is Advanced Warfare is the only zombies game that I have played other than Treyarch Zombies. And honestly, Outbreak is fun. Outbreak was a good starting map for a new game. That being said, I think it's either going to go in one of these. No, it's going to go here. I think Outbreak is better than these other maps, than Shangri-La and Noct. But Outbreak was, to me, a very underrated map. And I think that, honestly, I'm one of those guys that, to me, Advanced Warfare doesn't get enough credit. I guess it does get enough credit considering how the maps that it has, and I'll get to that in a second. But Outbreak in itself was truthfully very fun. I enjoyed Outbreak. Even in my free time every once in a while, I'll still hop in Outbreak because it's just nice to kind of have like a simple layout, get a decent wonder weapon, and just kind of have fun with it. It's kind of nice too, because this is really one of the games that are like the first game where equipment was like basic equipment, like your grenades and stuff, were at the top of its peak. Like the explosive grenades were just beautiful, and that's honestly what can kind of carry you into high rounds. But Outbreak in itself was just a good introductory map, and I think that's why I like Advanced Warfare just a little bit more, and that's why I think it doesn't belong in lackluster or bad or anything like that. I think average is a good spot for it. But would I play 5 over Outbreak? Yes. But Outbreak is a very good map. Infection is going to take that spot. If Die Rise to me didn't suck as much as it did, honestly, would I play Die Rise over Infection? Yes. Because Die Rise is at least somewhat playable, and you don't have to do escort mission in the middle of the game, and it doesn't shut off like everything around it. Like I said, would I play Die Rise over an Infection? Yes. That being said, at least Infection has like a couple cool things like the Gator Trap, and it has some good spots like in Burger Town. Like, to me, there's just a sliver bit more that's better about Infection than that makes Infection better than Die Rise. So, but it's still absolutely painful map. Like, I do not like Infection. I'm not even gonna touch that map truly ever again. And honestly, Carrier is just a bad map. It's not painful. At least there's a couple good things about Carrier. Like, the layout's pretty cool. The fishing bit's pretty interesting. There's a couple things in Carrier that are decent, but Carrier to me is still not good. Like, it's not a fun map. And that, granted, I haven't played Carrier in a long time, but Carrier is just better than any of the other maps I have in Painful here, and that's really about all I got for that. Descent is, to me, a very good map. Descent is not anywhere near great or a top 5 map like Noah J had. Good lord, it's not even close to that. And that's saying something because I love Descent. But to me, Descent is as high as it is for the map layout is very good. Having the Oz boss fight like in the middle of round 20 and everything is really cool. Like, Descent has a lot of good things with it otherwise, but to me the reason that it stands out above any of the other maps is the blunderbuss. The blunderbuss is probably the greatest shotgun at least from the zombie games that I played in Call of Duty Zombies history. I don't know what it is about the blunderbuss. Like, as good as the Howler and the Gallo are in Cold War, for some reason I love the blunderbuss so much, and that's like the main reason I would put it in good. If you asked me to play Descent, I would, like, it over any of these other maps, but Descent is very, very fun, and it's mostly because of the blunderbuss. But yeah, that's pretty much where I love Descent. Descent's a good map, but definitely not a top 5 map. Definitely not a top 5 map at all. Shadows of Evil. Again, this is where people are gonna really start hating me, because I have so many opinions about Black Ops 3. Not that any of the maps are bad. Like, I love pretty much all the maps of Black Ops 3, but Shadows of Evil to me in another world would be imperfect. But to me, would I play Shadows of Evil above any of these other maps? No. But it's still Shadows is still in my top 10. But Shadows is Shadows is incredible, but if you are new-ish or don't know the map that well, Shadows is going to be a pain in your ass. Like, it's not going to last, like, too well. It's not going to be as good as it should be. And, yeah, I really don't have anything too much bad to say about Shadows. It's just a map that I find a little over tedious, just because you have to wait like how long to get the parts for the Apothecary Servant. Upgrading the sword can be a little tedious, and yeah, there's just a lot of other things that you have to make. You really have to look up like how to get some of these other parts. But as far as its layout is perfect, its wonder weapon is beautiful. Obviously the best wonder weapon of all time. But yeah, Shadows just misses for me. Just misses S tier because of that. Like, if they could have made getting the Apothecary Servant parts just a little bit easier, because there have been maps where I don't even get the like the final piece to the Apothicon servant until like round 20. Not that that's a bad thing, but at least it's easy to obtain. But if it were easier to obtain, to at least help you get it so you can get it by like round 15, then I would probably put it in near. Then I would probably have it higher. But for me, if you ask me to play that, play Shadows Above the other maps that are ahead of it, no, I'm not going to do that. The Giant, the thing is, like, I love the Giant, but I don't think it's a great remaster, but I don't think it is. There's just something about classic Derice that, like, the world at War and BO1 Derice, obviously you can lose Jug with the Wonderwaffen World at War, but I think the reason that the Giant, maybe I just overplayed the Giant a lot, like back in the day, because Shadows of Evil was, obviously a whole different thing, and a lot of the other BO3 maps were just way too big at least for me to really play. But the Giant, I probably just burned myself out on the Giant. I just don't think it's as good as Derice, and maybe it's probably because it's easier to get the high rounds because of the double pack-a-punch. I think that's probably why I would put the Giant at great instead of near perfect and put it next to Derice. That's really about the only thing I can really think of, like, why I would put it that low. I don't, like I said, if you asked me back then, years ago, what do I think the Giant is, would I play the Giant over Shadows of Evil? Yes. Now that I have a lot more experience with it, I would probably play Shadows over the Giant. Still a great map, but yeah, that's pretty much where I have it there. Drak. Honestly, this was a map that that's, again, probably about a year or two ago. Had you asked me, I would have probably put it like here. I would have probably put it there. But now that I'm starting to get a lot more acquainted with zombies in general and starting to do more like this YouTube stuff and everything, if you asked me a long time ago, do I like to... Don't send it. If you asked me a while ago, how do I like Drak, I would probably say it's a great map. But now that I played it a lot more, and now that I'm learning more about it, I can easily say that Drak is not as perfect as, to me, as Mob and Derice, but as far as everything goes with it, Drak is one of the best maps of all time. And that is... I'm going to put it right there at number 3, because I think that everything else with it is just damn near perfect. And I really don't have words. You've heard it a million times. If you heard it once, you've heard it a million times. Drak's everything is just fantastic, and you can pretty much take that to the bank. And that's me saying something because I don't really enjoy like a giant amount of the big maps. Zetsubo no Shima. Zetsubo is a map that it is turning around on me a little bit. Like, if I'm playing, this is a perfect example. So you know how, like, everyone says transit is fun with friends? I don't fully believe that. Zetsubo is fun with friends. Because at least on Zetsubo, like, and granted, it's probably because I don't know too much of Zetsubo. I can easily get lost in it sometimes. But Zetsubo with friends is very fun. Zetsubo is a map that, if you're playing with friends and just shooting the shit and having a good time, can be insanely fun. Zetsubo is a map, that is the map that I will say is fun with friends. Playing this solo, if you don't have a clue what you're doing, is a pain in the ass. And that's truthfully why I would put Zetsubo in lackluster. It is right on the edge of at least of me putting it in average, but I think lackluster is the best spot for it. The Easter egg is interesting. There's just so many things that are annoying about Zetsubo. Setup process is atrocious. The upgrade and everything to the to get the KT4 and the Masamune is annoying. But once you have everything, I think Tim explained it very well in his analysis of Zetsubo. The setup process is horrible, but once you have everything and you're all set, Zetsubo is a fantastic map. But it's everything that leads up to go from point A to point B. Like Andres to get from point A to point B is literally, you go like point A to point B is here. On Zetsubo, it's this. Like it takes so long to get from here to here, whereas on most of these other maps, like it's like anywhere between like here and here. But this is just too much setup, and that's what brings it down for me. I'm not going to put it in bad. I think Zetsubo is, like I said, it's just on the fringe of average. But I think Lackluster here on this map is a good spot for it. Garad Krovi is, again, it's... Garad Krovi for me is kind of like Buried for me. I haven't played it a whole lot. The layout is starting to come about to me a little bit better. That being said, I think Garad Krovi deserves to be there. I think if I played it a little bit more... Hang on, I'm sinking. I think if I played Garad Krovi a little bit more, like at least just for some high round attempts, then Garad Krovi would probably be in great. And I know this is going to be one of those killer things, because I know if Lex ever watches this, he is going to sit there and critique the shit out of me for putting Garad Krovi only in good. But if you ask me to play Garad Krovi right now, I would say yes. But it's not a map that I'm going to fully play all the time. Like I said, I'll play Garad Krovi over any of these other three in good. But I don't know. It's just, like I said, if I played Garad Krovi a little bit more, then it would be a lot different. But in the meantime, that's pretty much where I'd put Garad. Like I said, not a bad map, just I need to play it more. And that's, I really don't have too many other ways to explain that. Revelations. Revelations is a map that I will honestly say it's a very underrated map. I think Revelations gets way too much flack for as... hang on, I'm just going to set it here for a second. I'm not putting it in Lackluster, but Revelations is a map that I think gets a lot more flack than it deserves, and I think it's because of the Easter egg. But the layout of Revelations, including basically every map, and its accessibility of having amazing wonder weapons and good high rounds, makes it a much better map than I think a lot of people give it credit for. That being said, the Easter egg is still kind of dumb, and the ending is a little whatever. I'm putting Revelations in average. Also, I think Revelations is spelled wrong. Yeah. But no, Revelations is a map that I think gets a little more hate than it deserves. But I think it depends on if you're playing the Easter egg or not. If you're just going for high rounds, Revelations is fun, because you got a lot of, pretty much all the good bosses, and many of the good wonder weapons, and a lot of other things with it. Revelations can be fun for high rounds. Revelations is amazing for high rounds. But in terms of Easter egg and everything else, it's just, it's all right. It's nothing fantastic. To me, Revelations is just a smidge, like a little bit away from being in the good category. But yeah, I'd say Revelations is a good map, or is an average map. All right, now this is oh boy. This is the section where I'm probably going to lose some people if I haven't already with my Origins pick. Voyage of Despair is a map that I will say right now, I have completed every Easter egg on Black Ops 4, except for Classified, obviously, because that's not an Easter egg. That's just a giant waste of time. Voyage of Despair, I completed all the Easter eggs on BO4 at least 10 times each. Because I will say right now, BO4 is an underrated game. And I would say right now, BO4 is better than BO2. If I had to rank the COD Zombies games. Voyage of Despair is the only map the only one I've actually done exactly 10 times. And honestly, to me, to get to that 10th completion of the Easter egg was very painful. But as far as everything else about Voyage of Despair, Voyage is just not a good map. It's just annoying. The boss fight is amazing, but really the only thing that otherwise that saves the map, for at least from getting into a lackluster category, is the fact that the Kraken is... If the Kraken were better, then it would probably go into lackluster, but you need PhD and the Hellion Salvo to be able to do anything in Voyage of Despair, whether it's the Easter egg or high rounds. The Kraken is only okay. The layout of the map, like once you get like into a bigger, like the front or the back, either the spawn area or the poop deck, is fine. But the layout itself, like there's like 4 rows of or 4 decks or whatever in this map, and I can't ever tell which deck I'm on. Like, because I play the map a lot more now, like I can find things, but to have this as one of your starting maps was almost as big of a flop as it was with Transit, because the layout is so tedious. There's a lot of doors you have to open. And like I said, there are many times, like if you're in the bottom part of the boat, or if you're in anywhere else, sometimes you just don't know where you're at. And that can be very, very annoying to many, many people. So, do I think Voyage is a terrible map? No. Do I think it would have potential if it got remade in Black Ops 4, and so it's a little bit easier? Yes, I would say it could potentially be at least an average map. But as far as like its layout and its just ineffectiveness of the Kraken, even with the upgrades, if it did that, it could be better. But for now, I'm putting it in bad. Like I have this as one of my my lowest ranked zombie maps. Yeah, I'm just not a fan of Voyage. It's, again, I want it to be better, but I just can't. I can't say it can be better. I don't know. It's a whole thing, but that's where I would put Voyage. 9 to me is basically a near perfect map, and it's my 5th favorite map. It's one of my top. It's near my top 5, basically in my top 5. I think 9 is probably the map that they should have highlighted more on BO4 than they did with Voyage. Obviously, you're going to market Blood of the Dead because everyone wanted to play see a remastered version of Mob of the Dead. But as far as like as far as 9's quality, like everything about 9 is almost perfect in terms of its layout, in terms of its the setting, the weapons, everything about 9 is really, really good. The only thing that honestly kind of kills this for me, actually there are 2 things. The fact that you have to burn a lot of rounds just to get ready to start the Easter egg, and the Wonder Weapon itself. And the reason I say the Wonder Weapon is itself, the Circuit's Kiss to me, or I don't even remember what the hell the base version of the Circuit's Kiss is called. I'm just going to call it the Circuit's Kiss. to me is a very if I could rank the weapons right now, the Surket's Kiss would be in lackluster. It's a very cool looking gun, but unless you know how to do like the spam trigger, it just that kind of kills the map, and that's really the only thing that to me makes 9 from being a near perfect or from being above any of these other maps. At least in terms of for me of how I would play it. But 9 is still to me like every other than those two things, 9's a near perfect map. The boss fight is really cool. The Easter egg, like once you get into the Easter egg, is really cool. Completing all the challenges and everything. So I think that is where I would put that. That's what makes for me makes 9 a basically near perfect map. Blood of the Dead. Oh boy. God have mercy on my soul for where I put this. I am gonna get so much crap for Blood of the Dead. But to me, Blood of the Dead is one of my favorite maps. And honestly, I would probably, and I'm kind of flip-floppy with that and 9. The only thing to me that kills Blood of the Dead and makes it a great map, to me anyway, makes it a great map instead of a near-perfect map, is the Easter egg itself. Doing the Easter egg and in general is... The Easter egg is the worst Easter egg of all time. I will not disagree with anyone on that. The Easter egg is one of the most difficult, annoying quests ever of all time. I will 100% agree with you on that. But you just saw, if anyone that just watched my stream, doing the Easter egg is actually... doing the high rounds is insanely easy. Blood of the Dead high rounds are probably some of the easiest high rounds, other than maybe like Revelations are easy high rounds. Der Eisendrache has easy high rounds, but Blood of the Dead is, as far as its high rounds, is definitely high up there. The story is insanely cool. And I know a lot of people say, oh, it doesn't have this and this of the map, or, it's missing things from Mob of the Dead. And it's, first of all, you need to stop comparing Mob and Blood. I understand it's very difficult with the BO4 Ether maps, because they're basically remakes of the original maps, or their original counterparts. I understand that that's a main issue, but... Looking at Blood as itself, I will agree with you, the Easter egg is hot garbage. But the high rounds are good. The layout is not bad. Yes, the catwalk is whatever. The spawn area, maybe you probably don't go back in there, but at least you can still make it work. And it does introduce us the Blade Trap, which is basically the monkey bomb of traps. And it still gives us the acid trap. It still gives us the other blade trap. And the only other thing that I can think of that Blood is missing, obviously, if you're going to compare Mob and Blood, I do miss the Golden Gate Bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge, I don't know why they got rid of that, and that was honestly clearly one of the biggest blunders they could have made in making Blood. But its high rounds are fun. Its layout to me is good, and its I remember earlier I was talking about movability. I feel like the movability for me on Blood is a lot easier than it is on Mob, but I think there's just too many things in Mob that make it so much better. That's why I have it at my near perfect, and that's why I would much rather play Mob than I would Blood. But if you ask me to play Blood, I will play Blood. Like, I love Blood of the Dead. Like I said, I'm fringe of moving it, like, right there. But I recognize its flaws, and I also think, like I said, if you're doing the Easter egg, I think Blood goes there. Like, as far as, like, everything else. But to me, Blood to me is literally the only Blood is the only Easter egg I can actually do solo. And the only reason I know how to do it solo is because I had to learn how to do it solo, because that was the one map that I truly 100% wanted to play on Black Ops 4, and to me is still probably my favorite Black Ops 4 map, like my favorite Black Ops 4 map. Like I said, I like it even more than 9 on most days. But I recognize its faults, but to me, in terms of what I want to play, I don't care. Blood of the Dead to me is a great map. Classified to also is another fun map. Classified is actually a very underrated map. I feel like if there was an actual like a better Easter egg, I think Classified would be higher up there. But yeah, I think there's just a lot of things that just kind of hurt it. Like I said, it's a much better version of 5. Like Classified is what makes 5 even just as good, because Classified at least improves upon all the other things. So I really love Classified. I'm putting it Classified there. I think Classified is a very good map, and one of the maps that if you haven't played it yet, go play it, because it improves so much more on what was up with 5. I think it's hard to explain, but Classified to me is a very fun map, and it's a map that if you said, hey, let's go play Classified, I would. Am I going to do the round 150 Easter egg? Maybe, if I actually get a lot of likes on certain videos or whatnot and people actually want to stick around and watch me play it, maybe. But if you gun to my head right now, no, I would not do the 150 Classified Easter egg. But I would still play Classified. It's very, very fun. I love Classified. Dead of the Night. Dead of the Night. This is going to be another one that I might lose a couple people on, because I will say Dead of the Night is a map that probably gets a lot more hate than it probably should. Dead of the Night is, as far as its layout and its like everything, is really cool. The wonder weapon is really good, but again, to obtain everything for the wonder weapon is a giant fetch quest, and I do not like fetch quests. Don't like fetch quests. Do not ask me to go on a giant fetch quest to get this or anything, because it's just annoying to me. The characters suck, and yeah, it's just a lot of just kind of more tedious than it is anything else. That being said, I don't think Dead of the Night is a bad map. I think Lackluster for me is a good spot. I will still play this map, but it's not going to be the one that I'm going to be like, need to hop into that. I just won't. It's a whatever map to me. Like, it's there, and I don't really care too much, and I'd rather just move on. Ancient Evil, to me, in terms of like all the big maps, like all your big favorite maps, like your Origins and your Horizon Drax and your Shadows, Ancient Evil is the Origins of Black Ops 4. It is the Horizon Drax of Black Ops 4. Ancient Evil is almost like just on the fringe of perfect, of near perfect, I should say. And to me, Ancient Evil goes there. Would I play Ancient Evil over some other maps? Again, it depends on who I'm playing with. If I'm playing by myself, then I'll probably play 9. But if I'm playing with people, I'll play Ancient Evil. But the thing that, like, the layout of every HUD in Ancient Evil is great. The storyline actually made people want to pay attention to the Chaos storyline. The wonder weapons are almost nearly perfect. The only ones that are absolutely annoying are probably Gaia. If the Gaia gauntlet were just a smidge better, then I would probably say there's only two things that really kill the gauntlets of being probably even better than the bows. Not as much ammo and the Gaia gauntlet. If it had maybe like 10 or 15 more bullets, the gauntlets would be better than the bows. I will say that confidently right now. Because the Void Bow is a tedious bastard to try and make. The Wolf Bow is only okay until a certain point. The Storm Bow is obviously one of the best bow. And the Fire Bow is just whatever. But to me, the only bad gauntlet is the Gaia Gauntlet. And honestly, the Gaia Gauntlet will still kill, but you have to like really group them up good enough. But like I said, its lack of ammo is the only thing that kills the gauntlets of being better than the bows. And I think the bows are better than the staves. But I will say, like, there's just a couple things that I think it misses to make Ancient Evil a near perfect map and something that I would want to play continuously over Blood or 9. But Ancient Evil still has a lot of great qualities to it, and of something that I would want to play. So I'm going to leave Ancient Evil at great. Alpha Omega, to me, is a much better map than I think a lot of players would give credit for. I don't think it's a bad map. I don't think it's even lackluster. I think it's a good map. I think if you ask me to play Alpha Omega right now, I would. Because I think Alpha Omega, kind of like Nuketown, is just an underrated map. Like, it also depends on what you're going for. If you're going for the Easter egg, Rushmore is a pain in the ass. But if you're just going to do high rounds, you just get that electric ray gun Mark II, and you're pretty much set. Like, the Mark IIs are fun. The layout is much better than Nuketown. There's a lot of good things about Alpha Omega. Not enough to put it higher above like anything else, but there's still, to me, in terms of what I want in the map, a lot of good things about Alpha Omega, and that's pretty much where I'd put that. Kino Der Toten, to me, is a very good map and just almost as good as Call of the Dead, but it just misses some bits and pieces here. If the Wunderwaffe sniper were actually good, and it didn't just remake the Thunder Gun and the I know it made the Thunder Gun, but it's a Thunder Gun, just ice. But the layout, I think, is really good. It's bright and colorful, and really there's nothing really bad about TOG, I don't think. I know my buddy Jolts is a whole, he does not like Kino Der Toten, and like I said, I can understand why people do not like Kino Der Toten. I can 100% understand why people do not like Kino Der Toten. The ending is a little lackluster. Some of the parts or some of the bits are annoying in terms of like its Easter egg and everything, but and like I said, the wonder weapons are pretty lackluster as well. But I think the layout of it and the way that it actually made people like Victus more. Because I will say right now, of the 4 maps that Victus are in, this is probably their best map. And I think that is a testament to how this map is. Because, like I said, nobody likes Victus. But this map actually made people like Victus. And like I said, the layout is fantastic. I think it's fantastic anyway. The water's kind of annoying, but I mean, it isn't Call of the Dead too. But I think everything else about it is pretty damn good, and that's pretty much where I would have Kino Der Toten. I have a lot of these in good. And honestly, I'm going to continue the good train here with D Machine. D Machine, I will say, I kind of have to agree with some of the other YouTubers, was probably the perfect introductory map to a new game. Probably more than Kino. Like, Kino's obviously iconic because it was on the most popular Black Ops game of all time. But D Machine, in terms of its layout, I wish the story were a little bit better, but the layout's really, really damn good. The Wonder Weapon, while somewhat ineffective after end high rounds, is good. It's fun. The ray gun, making the ray gun the primary Wonder Weapon was huge, and I think the ray gun was a good. If the ray gun weren't as good as it was, I think the D Machine would probably be like there. But as far as like everything else with its layout and everything, D Machine is good enough to be in the good category and probably one of the best introductory maps of all time. Outbreak. I am so flip-floppy on Outbreak. There are days where I sit there and go, Outbreak's not bad. And then there are days where I sit there and go, I can't continue to play Outbreak. Outbreak is a good concept, but it is not good enough to like. It doesn't make as good of a mode as others have. If you ask, I think I'll say this right now. I kind of agree with Lex on the whole PvP thing, like kind of making Outbreak into. I think he basically wants to make Outbreak into its own like battle royale, which would be okay. Honestly, I think putting grief on Outbreak would do wonders for Outbreak, or some kind of like player versus player. Like you got your squad of 4, and then have everyone else in their squad of 4. Like doing something with that. Like, that would be cool. But as far as where it is right now and everything, Outbreak is only lackluster for me. Like, I don't necessarily like Outbreak, and I'm just kind of meh with it. Firebase Z. I want to like Firebase Z a lot more than it is. But Firebase Z, honestly, Firebase Z is a cool map, and it's very easy to pick up. But the nerfing of the Ray K is just enough to annoy the crap out of me way too much, and I don't like the way that it is. If the Ray K were to stop getting patched, then I would say that it's a much better map. But with no regular ray gun and no good wonder weapon, Firebase Z, it has a lot of good training spots, and it has some decent camping spots, especially with Ring of Fire, but yeah, it just doesn't hit as well as it should. I don't know. Maybe I'm also just kind of burning myself out on Firebase Z, but I think Firebase Z is just one of those maps that is only good or average, but could be better. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got with that. And then finally, Maureder Toten. I like Maureder Toten. I've only played it a handful of times. I still need to complete the Easter egg, but it definitely is the best Cold War map. And it's nice that we actually get some story in here instead of a stupid Exfil Easter egg ending. But would I play Maureder Toten over Tag Der Toten? No. I think Mauer is a very good map, and it has a lot of potential. But like I said, I think if it had more of a story, Maureder Toten would probably be here. Maybe even there. Because the Wonder Weapon is probably the best Wonder Weapon we've gotten in. And granted, I like the Mega Magat. But as far as like any of the other Wonder Weapons other than the Gauntlets, I would say Maurer's Wonder Weapon is probably the best since the bows. I like the Mega Magat and I love the Gauntlets, but everything else about it is just really good. But Maureder Toten, like I said, it could use a little bit more. But yeah, that is pretty much that. That is where I would probably put. That's where I would put my subjective opinion on these maps. But the objective look I would probably have here, honestly, of the maps that I actually have experience on, objectively, where I would put everything else. I think objectively, I think Doris and the Giant would probably be an A tier. I think Ancient Evil should go there. I think Ascension should go there. I think Blood should probably go there. Alright, hang on. I'm gonna reorganize everything here in terms of where I think objectively everything should go. Yes, I would. So I think objectively, just want to double check my work here. Yes, objectively, I think these are the near perfect maps. I think Shadows was the most concentrated on map of all time, and I think Shadows is, like I said, just missing a piece here and there, but I think Shadows is probably the best map objectively, and then Der Eisendrache is just on the fringe of beating it as well. I think objectively Origins is in the top 3, and I think Mob is just underneath of it, just because there's a couple things with Mob that I think objectively people like Origins over Mob, and I can understand that. Ancient Evil, I think objectively is a near perfect map just because of its story, the wonder weapons, the layout, and honestly, other than the Giganese being a pain in the ass, I think Ancient Evil is a damn near perfect map. I think 9 is a near perfect map. In the great category, I still think Call the Dead belongs in there. I think Doris should be bumped down into great. As far as other maps I think that are great, I think Garage should probably be up there. Other great maps. Yeah, I think objectively, I think that would probably be your great. I think. Oh wait, I lied. Buried. I forgot about Buried. I still don't think Buried is, even objectively, I don't think Buried is better than any of these other maps. I think Buried should be an A, but I think this is your great category. I think every one of these maps has everything that actually works well in what makes almost a near perfect map. But I think that's what I would put in great. Now, if I'm, again, my objective opinion on good, I think it would probably be... Sorry, I'm just trying to think of what else would go in good. Yeah, I think I'm okay with... Let's put Mauer there. I think I'm just going to put that there for now. I think most people will probably play Town. See, I don't think... Yeah, I think that the good category should probably be something like... I know a lot of people would probably play Zetzpo over Ascension. Probably even Mauer now over Ascension. I think Verrucht is probably going to be behind Kino. I think most people would probably say they would probably play Kino, maybe even over that. And there are days that honestly Kino is probably there too. I think I do not care about people's opinions on Blood of the Dead. I think that Blood of the Dead in its whole should still be in the good category. I know a lot of people would probably hate me for that. I think I'm going to put Blood here. I think objectively, I know there's a lot of Blood of the Dead haters, but I think objectively, if you don't compare it to Mob, people would still say it is a good map. And I think that is pretty much how I think objectively that's how the good category would be. This is just what I think. I know it's not going to be true, but that's pretty much where I would have all that. And actually, I would say, yeah, I would say that. Yeah, that looks like it would be good. I think this is a good category for my objective opinion. The average category, let's see, average. I think Firebase C would go there. Average, I think Revelations should go there. I think Dead of the Night should go there. And I think Outbreak would probably go there. Yeah, the two Outbreaks can go in there. Okay, yeah. This average category, I think the category for average looks pretty good. Actually, I think a lot of people would still probably play 5 over the over Alpha. Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to go with the average category. I think everything else about these maps work really well, but there are just things that are hindering it. And I think this is a good average category. And then if we go into D, I think, honestly, I know a lot of people would probably have differing opinions on Voyage, but I think in terms of everything else, like, there are still some good things about Voyage, but there are just some things about Voyage that just are... It's not a bad game, not a bad map. It's just that there is so much potential there. But yeah, I think that's pretty much where I would put. I think the lackluster category there is good. Then in the bad, I would probably say that, and then objectively. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is the objective look for lackluster, bad, and painful. Because I would probably say a lot, like, these are actually a lot of these maps here in the anywhere from good to average. These are maps that I think you can kind of just piece together here and there, and you can there would be no wrong answer. But when it gets to lackluster and bad and everything, I think these are just the maps that belong in these categories. You can kind of make a case for Shino. Like, I know a lot of people like it because of the high rounds and blah, 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 but I think that is where I would probably put everything there. In terms of lackluster. And like I said, bad. Again, these maps are bad, but yeah, I just think, yeah, that's probably good for bad. And then painful. I think a lot of people still play. They might play Infection over Bus Depot, but I think as far as the other maps go, this is pretty much where I would have it. So I think this is a good. Again, this is just based off of the maps that I know, This is completely different from, like, obviously, if you included all these other things, obviously Spaceland would probably be up in here and yada yada, but these are maps that I have not played yet. But like I said, if you want me to try any of these other games, like if you want me to give these any shot and so I can maybe make videos on them, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Would love to see you, see what you think about this. Like I said, I tried to be as objective as I could be with this, and then like I said, the other map is obviously my subjective opinions of what I would play if you asked me to play. But I think this is a good objective ranking. I think the way that, yeah, I still think this is a good objective. So that's pretty much where I would put everything there. But I think that is pretty much all I got for today. But that is really about all I have. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed this. And like I said, I'd like to see where you would have everything. And like I said, be sure to like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, let me know what you think of these maps. Like if you thought I did really good with them, or if you thought they were shit. I'd like to see what you were like. What would you would have? And yeah, I'll put this tier maker link in the description too, so I can so that way you can send me your screenshots and everything. But yeah, that is all I got, and I will catch you in the next live stream or video. Peace!